open. But predominantly my job is to help the players that are here, and that's what we've been doing. You know, we haven't seen them that much, but the last few days has been really positive, I think. And, you know, I need to focus on that, helping the guys that are here.
Jeremy Langdon.
Yeah, hi Graham.
Hi.
Just following on from that, there's a lot of talk about Christopher Nkunku on his way to Chelsea next season from RB Leipzig. Is there anything you could say to that?
No, as I said before, and you know, Jeremy, my answer is I don't speak about players that aren't Chelsea players. If you want to ask about any Chelsea players, I'm quite happy to speak about them. But it was the same at Brighton. You get linked to a lot of players, and there's a lot of names out there, and you can imagine it gets escalated when you're a club like Chelsea. But yeah, I'll speak about Chelsea players and not comment on anybody else.
So just on one of them, Conor Gallagher's made a great case for starting, hasn't he, against Milan?
He has, yeah. He had a fantastic impact. The impact that we want our substitutes to have. As I said after the game, he's been a top, you know, he's a top person, great in the group, and he's fighting to play. So that's great for me.
Tom Woody.
Hi, Graham.
Hi.
You said about Kante being back and, training more and more, and that being a big positive. He's obviously been out for a while again with injuries, and in January, because of his contract situation, he can sign or speak to other clubs. Just wondered where you sat on his future, whether you wanted to see him, I don't think we've spoken about it yet, whether you want to see him staying at Chelsea for the long term.
Well, my focus at the moment is to help him rehabilitate in a good way so that he's available for us. He's available on the pitch, because when he's on the pitch, he's a huge asset for us. The other stuff is between is between the club and him. But my focus is to help him get fit, get him enjoying his football. Because as I said, there's not many players in world football like NG. So the quicker he's back for us, the better. So that's where I leave my focus.
Gentleman there.
Hi, Graham.
Hello.
Guillermo Rai for Diario As. We are talking about signings. I know that you don't speak about other players from another teams, but now the news about Cristiano are coming out again, and I would want to know, if you had the chance, would you sign him?
Again, we can spend all day asking these questions. I'm not going to speak about anybody else. I mean, out of the greatest respect for the person you mention and anybody else that anybody else mentions. Whilst they're not our players, I don't speak about them.
Matt Law.
Hi, Graham.
Hi.
A couple, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Just to go back to Nizar's point on the goalkeepers, will you at some stage decide that one is a number one? Because we've always had a bit of a juggling act with Kepa and Edouard, and at some stage, will you want one to be a clear number one?
Well, I think if you look at what we got over the next, 6 weeks? It's an incredible schedule. So I'm in no rush to label anybody one or two or anything like that. Firstly, I want to help Kepa enjoy his football and play at a really good level, which I think he did against Crystal Palace. And then I want to help Eddie get, fit and ready to play, which he's done really well so far. And then we've got two goalkeepers, and then in an ideal world, you want football to decide, But we've got two ones that we really believe in, and that's a good situation for us.
And then just secondly, we're going to speak to Kalidou in a second. He hasn't played a minute for you yet, and obviously arrived in the summer. How do you sort of assess him in this situation at the moment?
I think he's well, firstly, I've been really impressed with him as a person. He's honest. He understands his situation in terms of he's had to wait a little bit to play, which every player will say they're not so happy with, but it's how you respond. His response has been fantastic. Very, very hard working, very honest, trained really well. I think he's come from a club and a country where he was very familiar with and comfortable in, and making a step into the Premier League is not so easy. Things have happened in terms of changes at the club, so it's not the perfect situation for him. But he's a top player and he's a top person, so with that character, he'll play an important role for us, that's for sure.
John Southall.
Hi, Graham.
Hi.
What did you learn from that first Champions League game? Is it a different ball game to your normal domestic? match? What did you take from that and learn from that?
Yeah, I think there is a difference. I mean, I've only had 2 games, so that's how strange it is in terms of the time that I've been here. I enjoyed it. It's as I'd expect. It's a real challenge if you drop your level. Sometimes you can get away with it, but against the very best teams, and these teams are, then they can punish you, and that's what you'd expect. That's what's exciting about the competition, I think.
Just one other on N'Golo Kante. You're having to be careful the way you bring him back. He's had so many injuries recently that you don't rush him back too soon.
Yeah, I think there is a difference. It's just a case of building him up, and then it won't be a case of now he's fit and now he can play 90 minutes every 3 days. We have to be careful with how we build his minutes up. That's the next challenge. It's okay rehabilitating. Now it's game time, and how do you get game time in the Premier League? Bit by bit, I think. So we have to be patient with him, but we're under control with that, I think, and we'll do our best.
Jacob Steinberg.
In terms of N'Golo, you've seen the positive impact that he can have on the side when he's fit and on form. And previous managers have had maybe a bit of an issue in terms of the midfield when he's not there. I mean, you went for a back four the first time on the weekend against Crystal Palace. How did you feel that worked without him? Do you think it's something that can work without N'Golo playing because of the energy and the tackling ability and everything that he brings?
Well, as I said, I mean, it's hard to replace someone like NG. He's a world-class player. So any team that loses him is going to suffer a little bit. That's for sure. But it's up to the other players to take the step up and to find the solutions. We've got a lot of games coming up, limited time on the training pitch. So from a working perspective, isn't so straightforward. But if I look at the options that we've got, even though there's not a direct replacement, there are other solutions in there. So we have to find the right one.
Okay, gentleman there.
Hello. There's an ongoing debate in Italy now running about Rafael Leao. Antonio Cassano, former national team player, said he's just a normal player. He couldn't make the difference in Premier League and at top level. Other people in Italy are thinking he's just the best player playing in Italy right now. What do you think? Will he be ready to make the difference here in Premier League, or is not enough good still to do it? Thank you.
Well, I've been really impressed with him whenever I've watched the games. He's making a difference for AC Milan. He contributes to how they attack, how they score. So it's just to say congratulations to him for that. He's a top player. In terms of what happens in the future, who knows whether he can do this or not. He's got the capability, that's for sure. From when I'm seeing him, he's affecting games at the highest level against top opponents.
Okay, we've got time for 2 more. James Ollie, and then over there, James.
Hi, Graham. Aubameyang scored his first goal at the weekend, and you said after that game that he'd had quite a traumatic summer. And I just wondered what you sort of said to help him through that, and whether the fact that he's got off the mark now will sort of help him kick on and sort of put all that behind him.
Well, I think it's just to acknowledge it and chat to him briefly about it, but you can imagine it's one of those things that you have to just move on from as quickly as you can, and it's we're here to support and do all we can in that regard. But I think the best thing for him is to play football, to put that incident behind him as quickly as possible, and to be in a place where he feels comfortable and happy. And from what I've seen, I think he feels that here. He's acted really, really professionally. He's always happy around the football club, with the group, with his teammates. So I've been really impressed with him.
Do you think mentally he did find it difficult initially?
Well, I think he wouldn't be human if he didn't. I mean, it's fairly horrific, to be honest. So without being a total psychologist, I think it's a fair thing to assume. But like I said, I can only act in terms of think about how he behaves and how he conducted himself with us, and he's been perfect. So, but at the same time, he's still talking about something that isn't particularly nice, certainly when the family are concerned. But he's been brilliant with us.
Thank you.
Okay, last question.
I Only a question, what do you think about Milan and Olivier Giroud? Is a young player for us, for Milan.
I've been really impressed. A clear idea of how they want to attack, a clear idea of how they want to defend, different ways to score. Giroud is obviously someone that Chelsea Football Club know very well. He's a fantastic player, plays the game in a really good way, I think, uses his quality, uses his strengths. He's an important player for AC Milan. And yeah, I'm looking forward to playing the game. It's a top team. And we have to be really, really good to get the result that we want.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you, everybody.
Good, thank you.
Olivier Giroud comes back here tomorrow with AC Milan, someone you'd have played against in Serie A.
Out the tunnel last, their new number 9, who scored his first goal for the club. A fine finish at Selhurst Park against Palace in the Premier League at the weekend. So the two teams have shaken hands. The referees have done the coin toss as well. And before we get underway at Stamford Bridge, and we're seeing this across all European games this week, the Champions League, the Europa League and the Conference League, a moment of silence is being observed in memory of those who lost their lives during the tragic events at the Kanjuruhan Stadium in Indonesia over the weekend. We can see Milan's players in all white, Chelsea in all blue on the other. The floodlights are on, and now for the silence.
Kucam quickly consider chum. Where? Chega.
And he takes on the might of Milan, the 7 times European champions who win an early free kick. Koulibaly's challenge on Rade Krunic, one of a number of players that may not be in this starting 11 for Milan were it not for the plethora of injuries, and a set piece right at the start here in the opening 30 seconds for Milan to test the Chelsea defence.
Yeah, and Koulibaly was not in the team for Chelsea at the weekend when they went with 4 at the back in this evening, and this was not, I'm sure, what he wanted to give away inside the opening 30 seconds.
Tonali swings it in. It's headed out by Reece James. Benacer is there. And Chelsea actually get it. Chilwell can clear it up towards Aubameyang, who then tried to play a cushion path into Raheem Sterling. That's the front 2 for Chelsea tonight. It is a front 2 if you look at the way they are lining up as well, Chris.
Yeah, just looking to where Mason Mount is going to play as well. He's a little deeper. It's definitely 3 at the back with the wing backs, and then Kovacic and Loftus-Cheek in midfield. Another free kick, but it's interesting because on Saturday at Selhurst Park, Palace sat back, let Chelsea have the ball. I don't think Milan, judging by the opening 2 minutes, are going to do that this evening. So it's a very different test to the one that they faced in the English Premier League a couple of days ago.
James just wins the challenge with De Ketelara, the Belgian youngster, one of the new faces this season in the Milan team.
And a Milan fan as well. He was desperate to go there when he left Club Brugge. Plenty were interested, including plenty in England as well, but he had his heart set on Milan, and he has a chance now in the, not quite the famous red and black, but it's the famous white of Milan, and they started well.
Yeah, here's the first chance for Leao to stretch his legs. He finds Krunic out to the right-hand side now. It comes for Serginho Dest. Dest back to Krunic now, just inside the penalty. It comes out of the box, right-hand side. 2 minutes on the clock, 0-0 at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and Milan. But first sign of the pace and the skills of Rafael Leao. He's the big danger man, is he not?
Yeah, he is. And you talk about the absentees, quite rightly so, including the goalkeeper. But with Leao fit, they always have a chance. And he is. It's another foul from the Chelsea defender.
And again, it's Koulibaly who makes the foul. This time, it was on Charles De Ketelara, who I went online and heard him pronounce that himself. So I promise you that is the way he says his name. But clearly found it. And Koulibaly's got to be careful now, because we're, a couple of minutes on the clock. He's already made a couple of fouls. I think the next one is in the book.
Yeah, referee Danny McAlee came over and quite clearly said that. But you think how good he was at Napoli. He hasn't quite hit those heights yet at Chelsea, and it's been a troublesome start for him so far.
Yeah, he's scored a goal, he's had a red card, he's given away a penalty. It's been eventful. Here comes the free kick. It's not a good one, headed out by Fofana, back to a white shirt, and then Ballo-Touré takes no chances and plays it all the way back, where Milan can build again. Tonali, who is sort of the engine in the middle for Milan, the Italian international. It's Fikayo Tomori, who I'm sure has been looking forward to this match this evening. Here he is on the ball right now, playing it back to his goalkeeper ever since Chelsea were drawn in Group E. Just to remind you, with Fikayo Tomori, he first came to the club in the under-8 side. He's got some defending to do here. Giroud gives it out to Mason Mount. First time shot, good save by Tatarashanu. Stretching to his left-hand side, tips it away for the corner. First shot at anger, and it comes from Mason Mount.
That was a good save, because Mount hit that, and you thought that was gonna curl in. It was a super strike. It actually had a lot of pace on it, and it skipped off the surface. And Tatarashanu had to get down to his left-hand side very quickly and tip it behind. Best moment for Graham Potter and Chelsea so far.
Well, that got the crowd buzzing. They do have a corner kick here, did Chelsea, which we swung in from the right-hand side. Well headed out by Milan, and Benacer then further heads it up. Raheem Sterling could pick up the pieces. So the first real shot coming in the 5th minute of this match. It's come from Mason Mount, who has yet to score this season, and that's 10 matches, although he did score for England, didn't he, against Germany in the recent UEFA Nations League match. Good challenge by Kovacic, wins the ball back for Chelsea. Home crowd really enjoyed that. Now to Chilwell, back in business with Chelsea after his injury struggles. Back it comes to Kovacic, and after the good work for the challenge, he puts his pass straight at De Ketelara, and Milan have it back.
Yeah, actually, De Ketelara slightly dillied and dallied on the ball, which is why Kovacic could win it, because Leao was off for the 1-2. Absolutely blistering and into some space. Great noise from the Milan fans. You know, it's a big game at Stamford Bridge when that travelling section is packed to the rafters on a European night, and they will have enjoyed their team's start despite that opportunity for Mason Mount.
Two teams who have met before, but it's the first time this millennium. 23 years ago they met at Stamford Bridge. 0-0 it was. Down the left-hand side, Ballo-Touré's cross is cut out by Reece James. 0-0.
Opening goal of the late kickoffs. It's Borussia Dortmund who have it at Sevilla. They lead by a goal to 0. Rafael Guerreiro, the left back, rampaging forward, left corner of the box. What a hit, high and over the goalkeeper. So it's 1-0. Oh, and Manchester City have take the lead. 7 minutes in. Guess who? Erling Haaland from the penalty spot. Ball was cut back to him, and a lovely first-time finish from Erling Haaland. His 27th goal in 22 career champions. City 1, Copenhagen 0 in Manchester.
Didn't take him long, did it?
No.
Here come Milan looking for something here to Catalare though, and Leao weren't quite on the same wavelength. Super start to the game, Chris. We're not even 7 minutes on the clock. Both teams with real attacking intent.
Yeah, and Stefano Pioli has set his team up to come here and win, and absolutely no fear why should there be for the Italian champions. Here comes the first yellow card. It's been all action. It's been aggressive. That's the first challenge which has really been over the top, but it's been
Krunic on Loftus-Cheek, and Krunic was saying to the referee, "It's my first foul, ref, first foul." And Danny McAlee just said, "Unlucky, mate, it's a yellow card." Well, he probably didn't say that quite, but
he probably said it doesn't matter if it's your first foul when you take somebody out like that.
Yeah.
It is a yellow card, and he needs to be careful now.
Yeah, Rade Krunic, the Bosnian international, no Salamakers or Messiaso has come into the team down the right-hand side. Here's Mason Mount for Chelsea, just outside the area. Over to the left-hand side to Chilwell. A few whistles amongst the crowd as Thiago Silva chips it forward. It was blocked by Olivier Giroud. Shouts of handball not given. And De Catalare comes. Then goes down. Referee's had a good look at this. Some appeals from the Milan. It was one of those that you weren't sure. I think it was a clean challenge by Wesley Fofana, but only just.
Only just, and he is a player, Wesley Fofana, and I've seen an awful lot of him over the last 3 or 4 years. He's a brilliant talent, but he will never shirk a challenge. He will always look to be aggressive as a defender, but that battle between him and Leao tonight is going to be fantastic, and it was close there to a penalty.
Yeah, so danger at both ends of the pitch. This is what we want from a neutral perspective. 0-0 between Chelsea and Milan. 7 times champions of Europe, Milan against the 2-time champions in West London. It's been a pleasant day. There's been a bit of rain around, overcast, but fairly warm for the beginning of October. There's a foul on the halfway line to Catalara with the foul on Chilwell, and just a free kick. Graham Potter, only his 3rd match in charge. 2 sleepy matches, I think you're fair to say they've been so far. The draw against Salzburg, and then the late win against Crystal Palace. Interestingly, both teams went late, didn't they?
Yeah.
At the weekend, a couple of goals in injury time for Milan in their win against Empoli.
Yeah, I was at Selhurst Park on Saturday, and it's Graham Potter's 3rd full week, but his first Premier League game. So he has had a lot of time with his team on the training ground.
Yeah, 23 days after taking charge, his first Premier League match. Giroud comes back to try and help the defence out. Chelsea fans were hoping that was a foul, not to be. Giroud, of course, who won the UEFA Europa League and UEFA Champions League in Chelsea colours. 3 golden years as Silva heads it forward. James then flicks it on. Comes to Raheem Sterling, who's come deep. Plays it inside to Kovacic. This is just inside the Milan half. Now to the left-hand side from Mount to Chilwell. Chilwell back inside to Kovacic. Kovacic then plays it back inside his own half to Thiago Silva, the Brazil captain, the veteran, out to the right-hand side to Reece James, into the diminutive Sterling. And Chelsea keeping possession here. 10 minutes gone now at Stamford Bridge. Loftus-Cheek gives it forward to Fofana. Now it comes back to Loftus-Cheek. Kovacic. This is a good 20 passes Chelsea have strung together here. Not that they've made much ground, but first time in this game where they've had the football under control.
Yeah, good to see that press from Chelsea, though. Forced them all the way back to Kepa. Everybody involved from a Milan perspective.
Yeah, Kepa hits it long up towards Aubameyang, but Kalulu is able to shield it, and out comes Cyprian Tatarusanu, who has done this before. Tatarusanu filled in for Mannion, did that last season, 3 group stages in the same time. He managed to save a penalty in a Milan derby as well. So plenty of experience between the sticks, even if they haven't got their main man there.
Yeah, but Mike Maignan has been so good since he came in to replace Donnarumma. And maybe of all the Milan absentees, when you look at the team sheet, you think that they would really like their first choice goalkeeper. Interesting to see who Graham Potter does pick when Edouard Mendy is back and fully fit.
Well, he is back. He's on the subs bench. Isn't that not the statement you think, Chris? It's shielded out for a goal kick.
I imagine when asked, Graham Potter might suggest that whether he is absolutely ready for first team action, but we'll see in the coming weeks. But it's going to be very interesting from a Chelsea perspective. Kepa, since playing, has done very little wrong.
0-0. Almost 12 minutes gone between Chelsea and Milan.
Okay, let's go to Lisbon. John Bradley watching Benfica, Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, Benfica are on the break here, but they have it broken down by Danilo with a good challenge. They have provided us with the only chance of the game so far. Brilliant ball by Enzo Fernandez over the top of the Paris Saint-Germain rear guard. Gonzalo Ramos broke the lines, but his shot was very well saved by Gianluigi Donnarumma, stretching away to his left-hand side. Really good save with his feet. It denied Gonzalo Ramos and Benfica an early goal. They've started very, very brightly, though, their own side. It's Benfica 0, Paris Saint-Germain 0.
Thanks, John. Scores elsewhere. Sevilla 0, Dortmund 1. Rafa Guerrero with the goal there. Man City 1, Copenhagen 0. Erling Haaland with the goal there on 6 minutes. Real Madrid have just scored against Shakhtar. They lead at the Bernabeu. And from the edge of the area, it is Rodrigo. Picked it up in the D on the edge of the box and curls an effort into the corner via the keeper's glove. So Real Madrid 1, Shakhtar 0. Goal to Juve and Maccabi Haifa in Turin.
Good cross put in by Serginho Dest, but it was dealt with by Khalidou Koulibaly, the Senegalese centre-half. De Catalara now under pressure, managed to squeeze it out to Ismail Benacer, the midfielder, then cushions a pass forward to Krunic, who's been booked in this game, plays a 1-2 on the edge of the area, can't find his teammate, and in the end, Thiago Silva nipped in on the edge of the area and cleared it, but the team in white have it back. It's with Rafael Leao, out to the right, left-hand side to the French fullback. No Thiago Hernandez, so it's Fode Ballo-Touré, who's over on that left-hand side, starting for the second time in a row, scored at the weekend, in fact his first goal for the club in that injury time to make it 2-1. Leao added another one a few minutes later. Ball is spread out to the right-hand side, chested down by James, who's then caught late by the aforementioned Ballo-Touré. James is in some pain. Ballo-Touré is down on the floor apologising to the England fullback. There may be another yellow card here.
Yeah, I think it has to be, really. It was just a slightly heavy touch which invited the challenge, but he caught him on the top.
You've just seen the replay, yeah.
Yeah, it was the ball was there to be won, but and the heavy touch kind of got him in trouble. But I don't think they'll look at this, but you never quite know when the replays are slowed down. It's just going to be a yellow card, but. And we're talking about one of the best attacking fullbacks in European football, I think, in Reece James, and he can now play against the left back on a yellow card for the best part of 75 minutes.
Fikayo Tomori wins the race against Raheem Sterling. He did have a little bit of a head start. The 24-year-old who's out to prove a couple of points tonight for England and against his old paymasters in Chelsea. Sterling goes down under the pressure of Sandro Tonali, the Milan fans behind the goal, telling Sterling to get on his feet.
It was a good challenge, wasn't it? I mean, any Milan fan will tell you that Tomori doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. He has been outstanding.
But you know what I mean, don't you? I mean, Gareth Southgate
absolutely
left him out, didn't he, for the Nations League?
And you said, what, under 8s he joined Chelsea?
Yeah.
He his whole childhood, he was hoping for a long career in Chelsea Blue. It didn't happen. He had a very short one before he went to Milan, but he would only... Well, you
know, if Rudiger and Christensen had left maybe a little bit earlier.
And as I said, now under the current regime at Chelsea, I think with owner and with coach, he would have been the type of player that they really would have wanted to build the team around for the future.
And when he came into the team under Frank Lampard, I mean, he was 19, he was, very young. As a centre-half in particular, and learning. And there were mistakes from there, let's not forget. But he has grown, certainly, as a player, particularly since he's moved to Italy. First of all, on loan, and that's run out, by the way, by Kalulu. It's going to be a Chelsea throw, level with the penalty area, left-hand side. It's been an interesting 16 minutes. It's kind of teetering on the edge here, not too sure who's going to gain the upper hand here. Chelsea look threatening, but so do Milan.
Yeah, when Milan get the ball in the attacking third, they've been brighter than Chelsea, but Chelsea have had the best chance of that shot from distance. But there's the first groans, misplaced pass from Mason Mount. Again, the press forced the error, but
he's another player under pressure, if you like, especially, Conor Gallagher came off the bench.
Yeah.
If anyone has seen him on loan at Crystal Palace last season, very impressive, and he proved the point coming off the bench and scoring his first Chelsea goal with the winner in stoppage time. It's Leao turning into space. He's got two Chelsea players on him, and one of them, in the shape of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, comes away with it. Talking about players going on loan, he didn't exactly cover himself in gold when he was at Fulham the season before last, but he's got himself in the starting lineup in the UEFA Champions League tonight, and Chelsea have the ball.
He's seen a fair bit of football under Graham Potter as well, and
de Tuchel as well.
Yeah.
Last season.
You look at that bench, someone like Kai Havertz left on the bench tonight. That was a big call.
I think Havertz had I heard he had a little bit of a knock, so I think that might have something to do with it. Mount squeezes it to Kovacic. First time ball to Loftus-Cheek, who plays it out to Raheem Sterling. Over on the right-hand side is Reece James. Aubameyang's in the centre. James clicks it into the middle. Tomori heads it away, only as far as James again. Still outside the area. Chilwell now cushions a pass into this path of Kovacic. Kovacic out to the right-hand side to James. He might put the cross in again. Comes in field instead. Then plays a little tiny pass, miscontrolled by Mason Mount. As a result, he has to... Oh, then he falls over, and oh my goodness me. Keystone Cops, if you go back to the black and white era of the 1930s, that was all over the place there from Mason Mount. Don't put that in the highlight reel.
No, but he was also being hounded by at least one Milan player, and yes, he made two errors, but there's no time on the ball at all for Chelsea this evening, and Milan's intensity from second one has been really good.
Yeah, Olivier Giroud there in with a 50-50. Chelsea have the throw, and it's with Koulibaly. Gives it out to the left-hand side to Chilwell. 0-0, 18 minutes played. Thiago Silva puts his head up, looks for one of those long passes, and it's a really good one up towards Aubameyang, who then is facing away from goal, holds it up over on the left-hand touchline, gives it to Koulibaly. Mason Mount, Ben Chilwell does really well under pressure, gets it under control and finds Mateo Kovacic. The Croat then passes it infield to Fofana, who's lost possession. Sliding challenge from Thiago Silva is a really good one on Leao. You could hear what the home fans made of that. Mount against Tonali. Tonali probably too easily wins that, but then his pass back to Tatarusanu is a poor one, and it's gone out for a corner.
Mayhem out there. All started with Wesley Fofana actually dribbling into midfield. There've been some fantastic tackles out there, right? Thiago Silva with a huge one.
He's 38 now, Thiago Silva. He looks as good as he was when he was 28.
He is class. He is Chelsea's best defender, despite the money that they spent on Wesley Fofana and Kalidou Koulibaly this summer.
It's a Chelsea corner from the right-hand side, taken by Mason Mount into the area, and it was Fofana who was up there, along with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and it just comes off his shoulder and loops over the crossbar. It's still 0-0. Best chance of the game fell to Mason Mount on 4 minutes. It came off Fofana's shoulder. It remains 0-0. Goal kick's taken quickly. Benacer quickly under pressure on the edge of his area from Mason Mount, but Milan able to bring the ball away over on that right-hand side. Back it goes to Cyprian Tatarusanu, who's happy to stand on the ball, and then gives it to Benacer, who's under pressure from Kovacic, and Benacer still going back. How cool was he? But then he's given it away. Straight to Raheem Sterling. Shot could be on. Chips it into the area instead. You can hear the groans from the Chelsea fans. They've won it back, though. Sterling will get another chance. Crosses it off the heels of Tonali. Comes back to Sterling. Inside the area. Comes off the heel of Tonali again. And out for a throw. Sterling not once, twice, but 3 times had an opportunity to put a really good ball in there, but didn't make the most of it. But you have to say, good pressing from Chelsea, particularly from Kovacic. Didn't allow Benacer to just play it out of defence, and Chelsea are still on the attack. They have a throw level with the penalty area. Right-hand side. We're almost at the midway point of the first half. Chested down by Sterling. That looked like handball by Ballo-Touré. Indeed it is. It's a free kick now to Chelsea. Right-hand edge of the penalty area.
Best spell, isn't it, of this first half from a Chelsea perspective. Raheem Sterling was quite clever, I think. They haven't yet, in Graham Potter's 2 matches in charge clicked, I don't think, as an attacking unit. They've scored some good individual goals, and there's been a couple of nice moves, but they're not yet anywhere near the style, I think, or the consistent style that he would like. But they've kind of battled their way into this position, this free kick position.
There's a free kick which will be taken here by Mason Mount. It's level with the penalty area, right-hand side, very close to the touchline. Right-footed cross comes in. There's a free header for Silva. Tipped over the bar by Tatarishanu. It was rather at him, either side of him. There would have been little chance, I think, for the Romanian keeper to stop it. It remains 0-0. Chelsea have a corner.
Yeah, either side it's in. And Thiago Silva, we know how good a header of the ball he is, including scoring one here in the Champions League for Paris Saint-Germain from a not too dissimilar position, a very famous goal. And he was disappointed with himself. Such are the standards that he keeps at both ends of the pitch.
It was a decent save from Tatarishanu, but it was made easier by the fact that it was straight at him. It's Chilwell now from the left-hand side, outswinger, again free header one, and it was Silva again who got his head to it. Comes off a Milan shirt this time. He's got his hands on his head. He knows that's 2 in a minute from a set piece, where he's had the freedom of Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, his hands had actually barely left his head from the last corner, and he's disappointed again. It's an important block that from Tomori.
It's another corner, again from the left-hand side. 23 minutes on the clock. Chelsea 0, Milan 0. Ben Chilwell with the corner, left-hand side. And it's another header from Silva. Follow-up for Chelsea. Aubameyang's in there. It's everywhere, and it's in. It's Wesley Fofana. Third time lucky as far as the corner kicks are concerned for Chelsea. Milan had been warned. They didn't heed those warnings. It was scrappy, but no one from a Chelsea perspective cares. And it's Wesley Fofana with his first goal for his new club, who makes it Chelsea 1, Milan 0.
Couldn't miss in the end. It was absolute mayhem in the penalty area. Thiago Silva won the first header once more. Good save from Tatarishanu, and then, well, about 8 players were vying for the ball about 6 metres out, and it just dropped for Wesley Fofana, who had the whole goal to aim for, or the whole left hand of Tatarishanu's goal to aim for, and he just stroked it home. Good for him. He hasn't perhaps hit the heights yet in a Chelsea shirt that he would have hoped for. He's an unbelievably talented footballer, but he has his first Chelsea goal.
And we've had the first goal of the night in Lisbon. Your commentator's John Bradley.
This is Lionel Messi, forward towards Mbappe. Neymar, oh, the shot! What a goal! Oh, it's classic Lionel Messi. From the edge of the penalty area, he's bent one into the top corner. One-touch football between that devastating front three, ends with a Paris Saint-Germain goal. Lionel Messi is on fire once again. Benfica 0, Paris Saint-Germain 1.
Chelsea on the ball again with the goal scorer Fofana, whose goal probably wasn't quite as spectacular as Lionel Messi's, but they all count the same, Chris.
He would probably argue more important given where Chelsea are in the section and where Paris are in the section, but...
long way to go in this,
yeah.
But Chilwell has just been penalised for handball. It's 1-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, I've got a lot to get into here, Richard, because Sevilla had a man sent off against Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund leading 1-0. En-Nesyri bringing down one of 3 Dortmund players, racing through, clear on the goalkeeper, but there was a foul on Jesus Navas back on the halfway line. Red card for En-Nesyri, overturned. So Sevilla still have 11 men, but they trail to a Rafa Guerreiro goal. City are knocking on the door for more goals. Erling Haaland's already scored against Copenhagen. Bernardo Silva's hit the post. Jack Grealish forced a great save from the goalkeeper moments ago with a curling right-footed shot. Karim Benzema's come close for Real Madrid. They lead Shakhtar by 1-0 thanks to Rodrigo's goal, and it's still goalless between Juve and Maccabi Haifa. Get in touch with us, hashtag #MatchDayLive on social media, and it is Chelsea who lead Milan tonight, Richard.
Yeah, Fofana scoring his first goal since March, when he scored in the UEFA Europa Conference League against Rennes back in March.
Which was his first match back after a leg break.
That's right. Yeah.
It was a very emotional goal for the young Frenchman in Brittany that night.
And £75 million worth of signing for Chelsea from Leicester City. Wasn't signed for his goal scoring though, was he really? But They'll take it. Here's Reece James down the right-hand side. Skips away from De Catalara. Plays a nice ball in field to Chilwell. Chilwell, another former Leicester City player, plays a pass back to Kovacic. Kovacic then all the way back to Thiago Silva, who calls that mayhem in the penalty box that led to the goal. How is he able to win, not once, not twice, but 3 times, win the first ball from those set pieces?
Well, that's what Stefano Pioli will be asking, but I think you just have to credit him. He looks like he's 28, which, you know, is all credit to him and the way that he's looked after himself. But he's one of those players that when you watch live, you can't help but enjoy watching. They are the way he passes it, the way he tackles it, the way he heads it. He's absolutely sensational.
Yeah, I just wonder with science now and everything, you know, at 38 you've got a centre-half like that. At 36 we've got Olivier Giroud up front, whether we're going to see more of this as the years go on. Footballers edging towards 40, still being pretty close, if not at their peak. But
well, we saw Alan McGregor last night, who is 40 for Rangers, who had an extraordinary night
goalkeeper,
as well.
those are kind of different position.
That's true.
But I do take your point, yeah. But we've seen that from keepers in the past. Am I right? There was a 45-year-old at the last World Cup, if I'm not wrong, for Egypt. But that's the exception rather than the rule.
Then, Richard.
What's that?
Yeah.
Here go Chelsea. Kovacic. Crowd were baying for him to shoot, and instead he tried to pass it to Aubameyang, and then Ruben Loftus-Cheek kicks it straight out of play when no one was around it. 1-0 Chelsea.
A super goal for Real Madrid. They're 2 up on Shakhtar Donetsk. Valverde and Rodrigo and Benzema are all involved in the build-up. But it was Vinicius Junior slipped in the penalty area. Cool finish. 28 minutes gone. Real Madrid 2 up. Let's go to Lisbon. Paris Saint-Germain lead John Bradley, but they've been under pressure from Benfica.
They've had one attack and they have scored a quite brilliant goal. And it came just a couple of minutes after a truly world-class save from the goalkeeper, Gianluigi Donnarumma, to deny David Neres, who'd broken away right side of the penalty area. Looked as though he'd done everything right to go towards the top corner of the goal. The goalkeeper somehow managed to get his left hand up and claw it away. They went down the other end, put together their first real quality move, and it was quality, by the way, and the finish was even better. Messi really is flying at the start of this new season.
Thank you very much, Sean. So Benfica 0, Paris Saint-Germain 1, Sevilla 0, Dortmund 1, Manchester City 1, Copenhagen 0, Real Madrid 2, Shakhtar 0, goalless Juve, Maccabi Haifa, Chelsea lead Milan. Richard.
Yeah, they nearly had a second goal while John was talking from Portugal there, because Mason Mount on the edge of the area, first time shot that was blocked by Fikayo Tomori. It was goal bound as well. Good defending by the former Chelsea man as Kepa Arrizabalaga clears from his goal. And Milan haven't really yet got a foothold in this game since that opening goal for Chelsea.
Yeah, and you just mentioned Kepa's name there. He hasn't had any sort of a save to make. There's another big challenge in
it's
midfield.
a 50-50, yeah.
There's been some meaty tackles out there in the opening half an hour, though. You know, the goal was chaotic, and the whole opening 30 minutes has been quite chaotic.
I'm enjoying it, though.
Me too, absolutely. You feel like there's...
Half an hour's flown by.
Yeah, you feel like there's going to be either a mistake or a brilliant piece of play, and I hope both teams continue to press the way that they have. It's been very watchable.
Stamford Bridge, the venue in West London. Chelsea scrapping at the moment at the bottom of Group E against what were the leaders heading into this match day 3. But of course, if you haven't heard the news, Salzburg beat Dinamo Zagreb this evening. They've gone to the top of the point on 5 points, Milan on 4, Chelsea bottom on 1 point, which makes it so vital for them tonight to try and come away with the 3 points. And so far, so good. Half an hour gone, they lead by Wesley Fofana's opening goal, but they've got some defending to do here. Kalalu brings it forward to Catalara, whose pass is pretty woeful, if I'm honest, and Fofana, the goal scorer, can bring it out. He's then dragged down, and yeah, I wondered if the referee was going to blow or not, and in the end he does give a free kick.
Yeah, excellent play from Wesley Fofana, who likes to do that. I think playing in a back 3 might suit him at Chelsea at the moment. He was slightly wobbly against Crystal Palace in the English Premier League at the weekend in a back 2, and you could see Thiago Silva sort of talking him through exactly where he wanted to be. But I think in a 3, it gives him the freedom to burst forward like he did there, and he's very dangerous when he does that.
Real Madrid goals as they go in, Dortmund goals as they go in, and Haaland goals as they go in. He's got a second. Manchester City are 2-0 up on Copenhagen. A wonderful volley, first time, was parried by Copenhagen's goalkeeper Kamil Grabara, but it ran straight to Haaland for a tap-in. It's a gift, really. Number 9 who punches the air, and it's City 2, Copenhagen 0, Haaland 2, Copenhagen 0.
Incredible, isn't it? Haaland is doing. Now, here goes Chelsea. Sterling picks it up on the half volley, passes it to Aubameyang, into Mason Mount. Does he chip the keeper? Yes, he does. Does it find the back of the net? Yes, it does. Chelsea double their lead, but the flag is up for offside. I thought it was tight. We're going to look at the replay now, Chris. It did look tight. Well, first of all, Aubameyang, I'm not sure, was he offside when the pass was made?
I think he might have been. We've just seen one replay.
That was tight as well, but this one is definitely offside for Mount. Great finish, mind you.
Oh, it's a shame for Mason Mount, because you mentioned there, by his standards, lengthy time without a goal at club level. It was a beautiful finish from an incredibly acute angle. He got it over the goalkeeper, and he managed to beat Tomori, who was there as well, but he turned around and his celebrations were cut short. But it was a lovely, lovely finish from Mason Mount, but it won't count.
And can I say, we were talking about Mason Mount, who's having a conversation with Sterling and Aubameyang. You know, this first 33 minutes, he's had 3 or 4 really good chances, getting himself in those positions. The reason why we've got no play right now is Fofana's on the floor. They're checking out an injury for him. But Mount's having an excellent game. I know there was that kind of little crazy mistake for him where he kind of miscontrolled it and then fell over himself, but that apart, it's been a very good performance, in particular from him.
Yeah, and he continually gets in the position to score as well, right, which I'm sure is what how many coaches do you hear saying that? Yeah, I don't mind if as long as he keeps on getting the chances, one will go in. This is a bit of a concern. I think Fofana banged knees when he was fouled as he ran up the pitch. He's now back to his feet and looks like he's going to be okay to carry on, but Chelsea definitely the dominant team at the moment.
Real Madrid should be 3-0 up on Shakhtar. It's Vinicius Junior who was racing through. Brilliant stop from the keeper, but very close to 3-0 for Real Madrid. Let's go to Lisbon. John Bradley watching Benfica, Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, the game has changed now, really, Rob, since that goal. Paris Saint-Germain have really got on top, and they're pinning Benfica in at the moment. They've got the ball with Neymar as he tries to thread one through for Mbappe, and Benfica are having to put up a little bit of a blanket defence. It's a total shift in emphasis, really. Those little 3 behind the front man were causing all sorts of problems earlier. There's João Mario and Rafa Silva and David Neres, but they just can't get on the ball at the moment. Paris are really dominating, and they are looking very capable of getting the second. We've just seen Hakimi head towards a teammate rather than go for goal. Here he is on the right side of the penalty area now, looking for Messi. It's away by Otamendi, and Vitinha's curled one into the goalkeeper's arms, but Paris very much on top after, I have to say, a brilliant start by Benfica for 20 minutes.
Well, they're going wild in the stands in Turin because Juventus lead Maccabi Haifa by 1-0. It was Adrien Rabiot with the lovely near post finish. He was slipped into the box, left-footed, found the top corner, and it's Juve looking for their first points in the group stage. French international Adrien Rabiot with a lovely goal for 1-0.
10 minutes to half-time. Chelsea 1, Milan 0. Ruben Loftus-Cheek just won a free kick on the halfway line. It's clipped forward by Koulibaly, and there's a scramble in the middle of the park, which is won by Chilwell, but Milan win it back. Benacer back to Kalalu, all the way back to his goalkeeper Tatarashanu. Kalalu again to the right hand side to Benacer, and not a shot in anger since the Chelsea goal, which was 12 minutes ago. Milan not really making any forward movements, but the ball's being kicked out here because Wesley Fofana, who injured his knee about 3 or 4 minutes ago, is back on the floor. This is desperate, isn't it, for the player, because he's got himself in the team today after what's been an up and down start to his Chelsea career, and now after scoring an opening goal, a knee injury, which you know might not just cost him a place for the rest of this game, but maybe for the next few weeks.
Yeah, and actually, I was hoping for his sake that it was a bang of knees, but it wasn't as he was fouled. It was actually as he sort of put his leg down and straightened it that something happen. He is walking off. As we mentioned earlier, he's already had a long injury in his young career. He's got he would like to go to with France as well.
Yeah, he was out from May 2021 all the way through to March 2022.
Yeah, he was on the end of a really bad tackle in the pre-season friendly, which cost him 6 months, and he's walking off here to real concern. Let's hope that he is okay, and Trevor Chalobah is going to have his opportunity now.
Yeah, the 23-year-old who's come through the youth system at Stamford Bridge. He scored last season, in fact, against Juventus, Italian opposition. Chalobah's going to come on. His brother played in the Premier League at the weekend, but he only lasted 7 minutes. He was sent off against Newcastle United, playing down the road for Fulham.
He was also a player that I think was linked with a move away, but Chelsea decided that they wanted to keep him at the club, and now he gets an opportunity, and it's a big chance for him.
Yeah, it's just his second appearance of the season. His other came in August against Leicester City. Trevor Chalobah replaces Wesley Fofana, and the Londoner is on the pitch as Sterling tries to clip a pass forward. Loftus-Cheek loses out. Giroud's taken out late. Referee plays on to Catalara. Gets up towards the edge of the box. Krunic plays it forward. Offside flag is up quite correctly against Serginho Dest. The yellow card, by the way, for Kovacic for his foul on Giroud.
City have got the ball in the net again. I'm trying to work out if this one's going to stand, but it's there. I'll break down those goals in a moment. First to Lisbon, John Bradley.
What a chance for Benfica. A corner was taken quickly. David Neres dancing his way through the penalty area. It ricocheted off Sergio Ramos. It fell to Antonio Silva, dead centre of the goal, in space, 10 metres out, hit it straight at the goalkeeper. Could have put it anywhere else and scored, and he didn't. It's still 1-0 to Paris.
Catalara brings it forward for Milan down the left-hand side. Goes fairly quietly out, but he's got the ball straight away from this throw. He had a bright opening 10-15 minutes or so. Been quiet since then, Rafael Leao. It's Tonali now outside the area. Brilliantly robbed by Loftus-Cheek, who was then robbed himself, but it came back to Mason Mount. Sterling now inside his own half. First time ball by Mount. Gives it to Fofana. Down the left-hand side now. Infield to Chilwell, who plays it infield to Kovacic. Just to remind you, he was booked, the Croat, for that foul on Olivier Giroud. Referee trying to play the advantage. Mount just sees it come off his sort of left hip and out for a throw, which will be taken by Benacer. Catalara, who's seen plenty of the ball, but just not able to really find any creativity with it, the Belgium. Benacer comes in from the touchline under pressure from Mason Mount. It's now with Rade Krunic, who's given it away to Loftus-Cheek. Mount starts the attack, and he gives it to Sterling on the halfway line. Squeezes it through, plays a 1-2, back to Raheem Sterling, edge of the area. Got mixed up with Reece James, his own teammate there for a moment, Raheem Sterling. The impetus of the attack sort of fades a little bit, but Chelsea still have possession. Back to Reece James, edge of the area, crowd begging for the shot, plays it out instead to Sterling. Now to Reece James, chips it in the area when maybe a shot was on again. It's headed away for a throw.
Yeah, well, we all know about Reece James and shooting from that time in off the right touchline. He can be absolutely devastating. I think we saw again there that Chelsea, they will hope under their best under Graham Potter and a Manchester City or a Paris Saint-Germain or a Bayern last night. I think they would have got a shot away from that attack that they had. They're not quite firing in all cylinders as an attacking unit. That didn't happen at the end under Thomas Tuchel either, and you can see at the moment they're still trying to exactly work out the way I think they want to play in the final third.
Lots to tell you about. Dortmund are 2-up. Jude Bellingham, Dortmund's captain tonight, scored a wonderful solo goal, drifted into the area, dropped the shoulder.